Hey guys, Dave here again. We are going to be going over T12 parsing right now and showing you guys how it works. Just a general walkthrough of how the system works and some adjustments that you can make within the parsing of T12s and financial statements to make your life a little bit easier. I've got Brandon and Alex with me here again, two of my sales guys, and they might jump in from time to time and have some feedback as well. So, hi guys, how you doing?
What's up, guys? Doing well.
Hey,
Awesome. Thanks for being here. And yeah, T12 parsing is a pretty essential part of our business, right? We're looking at tons of financial statements and rent rolls and T12s, and a lot of times it just takes time to go through these. So we're trying to save you guys some time, and that's why we've created this tool that reads these financial statements, pulls the data into the model, and makes your guys' lives a little bit easier. So I've got an example of a T12 here, just so you guys can see it if you are new to this. And if you're not, you've seen a million of these and you know exactly what they are. It's a month-by-month financial statement. We've got a bunch of different categories. We start with the income section up top. Then we get into other income. Then we get into our operating expenses, all these different categories, payroll, G&A, maintenance, turnover. It's a great T12. Property taxes, insurance. And then at the bottom, we have our net operating income, which is how we determine the value of a property here. So the main reason why we have a T12 parsing engine, right? Because I want to make this very clear. Just uploading a T12 and parsing it within our system doesn't give you the answer on what price you should pay for a property, for example, but it gives us a piece of the puzzle, right? And the piece of the puzzle that we're looking for is within our model, we want to line up the T12 operations compared to our year one operations going forward and see what that looks like so that we have kind of a side-by-side comparison. So I built this in our model years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I've loved it ever since, is having a side-by-side from the last 12 months to what I think the next 12 months are going to look like. It's the best way to compare side-by-side past and future operations. So we uploaded T12 here, and that data is going to flow right into this column right here. We're going to fill out a lot of these cells automatically, whereas we used to pull up a T12, and I would literally take this line item, $2,022,716, $2,022,716, and I would go one by one and input into each of these. And I would have to go through, and anything I didn't like, I'd have to pull out, and I would have to total up like, a couple of these different items, take the total at the bottom, type it in, and it would take me 15, 20 minutes just to go through and put the T12 in. So nowadays, I'm going to show you how quick it is. All you do is you're going to take the T12, you're going to upload it here, and what used to take 20 minutes takes about 6 seconds, and our data is going to load into there. Pretty darn cool, huh? So obviously there's a little bit more to it. I'm going to back it up and show you guys again, show you guys some options, the functionality of the parsing, so that we make sure it comes across accurately. But generally, that is what we're doing. That's why we do it. The main reason is to pull that data into here. So now I can see what was my payroll last year and what's my payroll going to be going forward for next year and on a go forward basis. So let's go back. Let's jump in here. I'm going to clear this out, and I'm going to upload that same T12, and we're going to go ahead and press parse. So drag and drop your T12. You guys are going to see a couple things here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So we've got our headers detected. So the first thing we're doing is we're trying to detect what time period is this, right? So currently it's July 2018 to June of 2019. That's 12 months. Those are the months that we see here in the model, July 2018 all the way to June 2019, right? The next thing we're doing is we're taking every line item. And when I say a line item, I mean these, your market rent, your loss to lease. These are totals, right? And these are the line items, the direct line items we want to pull in, right? So we've got our utility totals, but water, rubs, this line item is what I want to pull in. Pest control, all these different line items. These are the items that we're pulling in. Again, we've got our totals at the bottom of these. This is kind of how it's laid out, right? You've got your advertising section, got all my costs, And at the bottom, this cell totals all of these above it. And then we take all these totals, we roll them all the way down to the bottom, and we get our total operating expenses and our net operating income. So it takes our, right here, our gross operating income minus our 81,000 expenses, and we get this. And it does that all the way across, right? So I'm just giving you general layout. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that there's nothing erroneous in here, that there's nothing that's a CapEx item in here. We want to make sure we're using the proper data to give us the most accurate analysis going forward. That is our main goal, is to pull the right data into these cells. So I can say last year they had an NOI of 1.2. What is my NOI going to be next year? All right, that is the purpose of this. So I'm going to go down and basically when I parse a document, I'm going to do a couple things first. I'm going to look at my NOI at the bottom, and I'm going to see, is there any trend? Do I have any trend here, like growing? Is it going down? At about 1.2 million over 12 months. Looks like the first couple months it was a little lower. We had 84, 92, 92, 98. And then in the last 6 months, we had several months over 100,000. So to me, I do almost see that trending up. And maybe we should add a little chart here at some point so you can see whether it's trending up or down. But what I might first do in that scenario, because of that, is I might say, hey, I want to annualize the last 6 months. Because if I annualize the last 6 months, it's going to take the average from the last 6 months, and it's going to show me what my NOI would be if I take that last 6 months and annualize it. Annualizing basically says, if I took 1 month and annualized it, I'd be taking the most recent month, multiplying it by 12. If I took the most 3 recent months and annualized it, I would take the average of these 3 months, multiplied by 12. So if you guys see me annualize these last, let's say 3 months. So I'm going to go June, May, April. Change. So now I'm taking these last 3 months. Now my NOI annualized is actually over 1.3, where before it was under 1.2. So the reason I do that is sometimes you're buying a property that maybe was underperforming and has been improved. And I want to make sure I'm using the most recent data. So now if I pull this into the model, which I haven't done yet, you're going to see that this changes to about 1.3. I want to make sure I know that when I'm underwriting, because my year 1 NOI should ideally be higher than that, right? Aside from probably going to see some tax increases, insurance increases, stuff like that. My goal is going to be to get it up higher than that, but their true current NOI is actually closer to 1.3 than it is the original 1.2. So the next thing we're going to want to do, I'm going to show you guys a couple more features here. Let's go back and let's just reset it. I'm just going to reset. So the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure everything's properly categorized and that there's no totals pulled in. Again, when I showed you guys this, there's a lot of these total line items. Now we do our best to avoid these, but sometimes the totals get left out. So the first thing I'm going to do just to make sure this parsed properly is I'm going to look at the NOI 927, and I'm going to go down here and make sure it's 927, and it's not. So that means that we pulled something in that we shouldn't have. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to find that. So their NOI was 9, or it means there was a calculation error in their spreadsheet. That's also possible. So the two easiest ways to now see where is the problem, right? This is the troubleshooting we do because we want to make sure it parses correctly. Total revenue, 2,265,000. Let's go and make sure we got it right over here. So let's go to our total 2,260,000. Okay, so it's not. This is 2,684,000. So we've got about a $265,000 difference here. And I want to find out where that is and pull it out. All right, so I'm going to categorize a couple of these different things. I'm going to take some of these items and I'm going to move them around. Let's move those into the rubs category. Let's see, bad debt. Here's our income, 2,022,000. All right, where are we off? We're doing some forensic accounting here. So our water rubs. All right, we've got our rubs, we got our bad debt collections. It's our total other income. Trying to get it to line up. 201,000. So our total other income is 301,000. Right? And our total other income, we've got 146. plus 154 minus these. I think that's where we're going to be off. It's not this item. Oh, look at that. I see where it might be. We've got a spreadsheet error. So again, this is why we do this, because from pulling these numbers, I can see that my total does not add up to the total here. This should be here. And right, this is actually good because this might help you guys find somebody that tampered with a spreadsheet and adjusted some numbers in here that were not supposed to be there. And sometimes sellers will go in and they'll try to modify a cell, and they'll try and take out a couple different numbers, but if it doesn't flow down to the bottom, now we know it's not actually making the right updates. So our system is actually pulling in the proper number here, which has a little bit higher NOI. So what we can do is I can confirm. I can go ahead and download that. And what's cool is if you have a T12 or rent roll, again, that was pulled in and they don't have equations in these cells, right? These should be totaling and have equations. Our standardized format actually will, create a template, standardized template with all the equations in there. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. So we've got another model here, and it's going to have all these equations, right? So the correct number, from doing a little bit of research there, we found out that we actually have the right amount of income, and our NOI is actually 1,192,000. All these cells, if you double click on them, or if you look up here, it has all the equations in them. So, okay, that's good. So we know we've got the right amount, but that's one thing we do want to check. So we'll go back through here, parse again. I'll show you guys a couple of things. So you may have seen before, there is a function where we can move items around. So I can go ahead and click on a couple different items. I want to put everything into the right category. So anything that's a RUBS item or utility reimbursement, I want in the right category. So I'll go ahead and check these boxes. I'll click move. I'll go to revenue, and I want to move these to RUBS income. You can see they moved right there. You can also grab anything, drag and drop. Really easy, drag and drop. Just move it right around to wherever you want. And you can also ignore line items. So let's say we find something that is not a typical item. Okay, locator commissions. Let's say my company doesn't use apartment locators, which is kind of like a referral type business, or an agent that will go out and locate tenants. So let's say we have that in-house. I'm not going to have those costs going forward. I may not want that cost to show up when I pull my data over here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click ignore. And that's going to drop that item all the way down to the bottom in this ignored category, right? Go ahead and expand those again. So now anything ignored is not going to be included in the NOI. So we're going to see our NOI go up as we ignore some of these items. I can go back in too, and I can look, maybe there's some items in repairs and maintenance, plumbing repairs, maybe if there's appliances, no. So if I saw a CapEx item, I can just use this as an example. I go ahead and I'll just click ignore, take it out. CapEx is not standard operating expense. I want to make sure that we're using the right numbers. We want to make sure the seller's not keeping anything out. Obviously, that's always one thing when we're looking at a T12. But at the same rate, we also want to make sure we're being realistic and not being too conservative and unrealistic with what the expenses are. Right? They may have spent $100,000 on the roof last year, but that doesn't mean we're going to spend $100,000 on the roof next year. And because of that, I don't want that to show up in my repairs and maintenance as 133,211, because then two reasons. One, when I go to do my projections, I'm going to show maybe 50,000 here in repairs and maintenance, and theirs are at 133,211. Let's say if they spent 100,000 on the roof last year and it's in that category. Well, mine's going to look like maybe I don't have the right amount here. It's kind of low. So when I send this to a bank or an investor, they might be like, "Hey, why is your repairs and maintenance so low compared to the T12?" And then you're going to have to explain, okay, well, it's because I didn't pull out the CapEx items. So anyways, that's just one thing that you're going to want to do. So again, T12, the goal is to pull it in there. I'm going to show you guys one more thing. I showed you guys annualization, moving these items around. The last thing you can do is actually, if you upload a document that only had, let's say, one column for a year, you can actually mark it as a multiple month, or let's say it was 4 quarters, right? Let's say we pulled up a T12, and I'll do it right here. And these numbers were different. Let's say this was Q1 2024. Let's say, I don't know if this will work. No, that didn't work. Let's say this is Q2 2024. Let's say this is Q3 2024. And let's say this is Q4 2024. I'm hoping this works. I haven't really seen one with quarters before, but I just want to show you guys. Sometimes you'll get one that's like the whole year. Okay, and then what I can do is multiple months, and I can say what's the start and the end, right? So this might be January to 2024 to March 2024, right? That's the first one. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and then it's going to be able to annualize those quarters out, if that makes sense. So again, just another scenario. You might see another one where you grab a T12 and it is just one column, and it's let's see, let's delete these, and it's just one column, and it's 2023 year end. All right, so if I go ahead and I upload that, replace our active T12. I just need to show multiple months. What is this, right? This was from January 2023 to December 2023. Confirm, right? Then it's going to take this and it's going to annualize them out. In this case, actually, there's no annualization because it is the whole year within one column. So confirm, whatever data we confirm in here, obviously it's going to go ahead and it's going to switch that up in real time and pull it right over into our model. So again, guys, that is T12 parsing. I know that's a little bit of a lengthy video, but hopefully that helps you guys through some of those errors. Always double check everything. Our system is not magical. It works on logic. And sometimes we get some spreadsheets that do not come through in a very logical manner. It's not a standard file format that we've seen before. So just want to touch on that. Make sure every time you parse, double check everything, categorize things you need to categorize, make sure the data flows over to the model properly. All right, we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks.